Hi, I didn't get to film the cutting of the wooden pieces, so this has been glued together overnight. Three pieces. I've used chestnut, purple heart and yew on this mouthpiece. Got a little bit stuck there on my bandsaw. So there's the basic shape. There's also a bit, I've used an epoxy rim on this one. That way, you know, when you're playing, you know, you never the seal is always good and sound. And actually the epoxy on the wood, it's quite a new thing that I've done. It's so comfortable when you're playing, and yeah, and it doesn't affect the sound. It vibrates really well with the wood. Here I'm doing the inside, hollowing out. I'm taking the walls down to about 2 centimeters all the way. The reason for this is to keep a good resonance on the didge. If your walls are too thick, you don't get that good resonance, and you get a bit of a muffled sound. It makes the didge harder to push. So I found that the optimum thickness is about 2 centimeters. Any thinner than that, you know, it could crack easily. So you've got to be careful. It takes a long time to make a didge with walls fairly thin. So I'm taking down the purple heart here. The purple heart is so hard it blunts tools. So you can see I was sharpening this tool quite a lot. I was doing that, but it is a beautiful wood. So yeah, I'm doing the basic shaping here, using 3 different chisels. I've got this pointed one that I like to use, a U-shape one, and kind of a flat one with a point. Keep checking the thickness as I'm going. Not, you know, you have to do that, otherwise you can take too much off, and then before you know it, you've gone all the way through. You will get fails. We all make mistakes, but that's how we learn, eh? Just be really careful that you don't catch your chisel on the lathe. That's a bad accident, that is. That lathe can really chew up fingers. Well, that's happened to me in the past. I love making mouthpieces. It's just so tactile, and the shavings and the sound. So this mouthpiece is going to be going on a eucalyptus woolly butt that a customer wanted. He wanted basically an upgraded mouthpiece. The previous mouthpiece is just a midi putt, and it was a really wide mouthpiece. It's about 34 millimeters. You couldn't really get the drone going on it. So this one, what made the aperture on this mouthpiece 30mm. So I'm using 3 different bits of sandpaper here. I'm using a really rough one to take off quite a lot of waste, and just finishing off the front of the mouthpiece here. Sort of medium rough and a smooth, just to go varying between the 3 as I'm finishing the shaping. And you have to keep checking the thickness, otherwise you take too much waste off. This video is quite short, but this mouthpiece took a long time to make. As you can see, it's speeded up to about 2.1 times. Wood dust is really toxic. I've got like a Hoover type thing going on there, sucking the dust up. I'm wearing a mask, and I've also got a filter on the go and a fan blowing the dust out the way. If you breathe this stuff in, it can give you chest infections, all sorts of bad stuff. Yeah, all wood dust is poisonous. That's the downfall of woodworking. You just got to have good ventilation and mask up well. So here I'm preparing for the epoxy. So I'm using 100% acetone just to clean off all the dust and any grease, so that the epoxy will adhere. I like to use epoxy now on all my dishes, inside and out, so it's completely waterproof. Because any moisture, when it gets into the wood, it can make the wood warp and move, and and potentially crack your didge. So I just want to get the best, the best job done. So yeah, I use a top grade epoxy here. You've got to mix it well. If you don't mix it well, it won't cure properly. And also the temperature, you've got to have a nice warm room. Make sure you put the heating on when you're curing it. So I'm not really keen on the glossy finish of epoxy. I know some people are. So what I do with the epoxy, I sand it down. So that's not quite the finish that I have, but some people like that. I'll sand it down to a fine grade, and then I'll rebuff it up, and it comes up quite a nice finish. So yeah, here's the didge that I'm upgrading. That was the old MIDI part thing that he couldn't get to play. Well, this customer's really happy with this didge now. In another video, I'll show you the artwork that I did, and I did some pyrography, and I'll show you the whole process in the next video. So I'm taping this up now so I can test it. I was very happy with the outcome. Plays really nicely. Just a so here's the finished product here. As you can see, it's not as glossy as it was. That's my special finish. I'll show you how to do that in another video. Thanks for watching.